The 5th edition of the Alaghodaro Summit, organized by the Edo State government in collaboration with private partners to showcase opportunities and engender sustainable development in Edo State. The theme for this year's celebration is the Edo of our dreams, building a sustainable future. Activities include Friday, 12 November, Alaghodaro Summit at the new Festival Hall, Government House, Benin City. Sunday, 14th November 2021, Praise Night at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. No matter what, the future of Edo is secure.
The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. Our people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing.
The 5th edition of the Alaghodaro Summit, organized by the Edo State government in collaboration with private partners to showcase opportunities and engender sustainable development in Edo State. The theme for this year's celebration is the Edo of our dreams, building a sustainable future. Activities include Friday, 12 November, Alaghodaro Summit at the new Festival Hall, Government House, Benin City. Sunday, 14th November 2021, Praise Night at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. No matter what, the future of Edo is secure.
The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how stand with each other. Forgive and let it go. Together we can stand, come what may, and our future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To fear and love the Creator, only then shall we succeed. Beautiful Adam, glorious Adam, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Adam, glorious Adam, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. Our people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Adam, glorious Adam, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Adam, glorious Adam, stars are singing.
Good morning, and you're welcome to Alaghodaro live studio right here in the heart of Benin City. And today we'll be having a very interesting topic, a very interesting time with quite an interesting guest, which I'll reveal to you later. Let's just keep you salivating for that. But I know that this is one issue that everybody is concerned about. It affects you, it affects me, it affects even this studio, it affects everyone, everywhere. And it's so serious that if we have a solution to that matter, then we are all good. So that topic is power supply. And we'll have somebody very interested in the studio to talk to us about it. But before we do that, we'd just like to take the brief news flash. All right. On the news this morning, Obaseki celebrates Benin Archbishop Emeritus Ebu at 90, hails contribution to state development. Alaghodaro 2021, 69 billion oil palm plantation investment in focus at the summit. And then Obaseki appoints Ihenye as political advisor, Edo Central. We'll be starting the news with the Alaghodaro story. Big ticket players in the oil industry, palm industry, as well as smallholders and large-scale oil palm plantation investors will on Friday, November 12, 2021, converge on Benin City during the Alaghodaro Summit to explore opportunities in the state's rich oil palm sector with the aim of tapping into the 69 billion facility provided by the state government in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria. The summit is in the 5th edition. It's scheduled to take place between November 12 and 14, 2021, with the theme Edo of Our Dreams, Building a Sustainable Future. The annual summit to mark the governor's anniversary in office showcases investment opportunities in the state and the numerous achievements, reforms, and initiatives by the administration to improve the living standard of the people. Chairman Marketing and Branding Subcommittee, Alaghodaro 2021, Cruz Osage, who spoke to journalists in Benin City, said the government remains committed to harnessing the state's rich human and natural endowments to achieve economic growth and well-being of the citizens. Following the harmonization of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, by leaders in the Edo Central Senatorial District of Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki has approved the appointment of Princess Philomena Ihenye as political advisor Edo Central, as well as senior special assistant SSAs and special assistant SAs in the senatorial district. Secretary to the Edo State Government, Osarodion Oge Esquire, in a statement on Wednesday, announced the appointments. The governor also appointed 21 senior special assistants and 51 special assistants across the 51 wards in the 5 local government areas. Finally, the Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, has celebrated the anniversary and 90th birthday celebration, saluting his contribution to the development of Edo State and Nigeria. Speaking at the celebration held at St. Paul's Catholic Church, Airport Road, Benin City, the governor said the clergy service in God's vineyards has drawn more Christians to God. Obaseki said Ekpu and other Nigerian patriots in the midst of the civil war were called into the service of God and accelerated to become bishops in the Catholic Church, adding 50 years on, they have changed the face of the church in Nigeria. Earlier in his welcome address, the Archbishop of Benin and President, Catholic Bishops Conference of Nigeria, CBCN, Most Reverend Augustine Akubeze, said Ekpu is being celebrated because of his industrious labor in the vineyard of God. So that's about the news. Now back to our guest in the studio. I'll just Managing Director, OSSIOMO Power. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Owaigimo is IGIEHON, is the MD, OSSIOMO Power, and he'll be talking to us today about OSSIOMO Power. Let me just give you a small insight. We are being powered right here by OSSIOMO Power, and that's something that we are glad about. The OSSIOMO Power plant in Benin last year commenced 24 hours power supply to the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, the State Secretariat, and other government buildings in Edo State. Can you give us an insight on how the vision of this project became a reality, as the role of the government and other partners in actualizing this?
Thank you very much, and good morning. I live in London. I've lived in London for over 30 years. I was formerly Managing Director of the Royal Bank of Canada Capital Markets. And over time in London, I've been involved in a lot of projects in different parts of the world, particularly in the Middle East, in the US, Canada, and various other countries. And there was always a thinking amongst my colleagues that there are certain things that need to be done for development to happen in Nigeria. Over 30 years living in London, there's never been an outage. And we were particularly taken that there has to be a way to have 24/7 power in Nigeria. And then we looked at the situation in Edo State, and quite frankly, in Benin and the broader part of Edo State, and given the conditions that we have in the state, and in particular, the conditions we have at the OSSIOMO Industrial Park, it was very clear to us as engineers and investment bankers that there was absolutely no reason for not having 24/7 power. So that's how it started. And then, of course, in the city of London, it's a big one of probably the most prominent financial district in the world. Of course, the stock exchanges in New York and maybe in China are bigger, but London is the home of financing all over the world. So that's how we were able to put everything together to develop the project, design, engineering, procurement, and construction. And like you said, we started by switching on lights at the Samuel Ogbomundia Stadium, November 2020. And yes, it's exactly 12 months now. And I think that it is fair to say, like you have just said, we are supplying power 24/7 on a consistent basis. And this is basically what I had always wanted to do, and I'm very pleased to say so. And the role of the government has been absolutely critical, step by step. Of course, this is a private project, but the government and the governor in particular, in so many ways that you can imagine, gave us encouragement. We had lots of challenges, like you do in any project in Nigeria. Our biggest challenges were the regulatory situation, particularly from the local distribution company. I can give you an example. We obtained our licenses from NEC towards the end of 2015.
Wow.
Yes, we started 2013 and we obtained our licenses from NEC in 2015. Okay. When the governor was sworn in November 2016, we started the discussion. And then very, very quickly in April 2017, we signed the power purchase agreement, which is the bedrock of this project. And in 2018, we started issues and disturbances. We didn't really get to start in November 2020. And to put it in context, yes, this is the critical point. Amazing. And all of it was down to constant petitions by the local distribution company. And it's still going on till today. Personal attacks and different things like that. But it doesn't faze us because we had a goal. And for me, it wasn't just okay, sit down in London and we'll do our investment banking stuff. We felt it was absolutely important to do this, and of course, for the industrialization that comes with it. So I would say that the role of the climate to make this happen was absolutely critical.
This is very interesting because I was saying, power, just before I started, I said that power is the most important issue for us here in this country. And for you to be telling me that it took you almost 5 years before you got license and
yes.
you got things for you to come and invest in power in Nigeria, where power is our #1 problem. What is this issue with ease of doing business at the federal?
It's more than the ease of doing business. The point is this, and you can check. As an investment banker from London, we follow the rules every single step of the way. And we've gone through our processes with NEC and everything. But do you know, as we speak now, the local distribution company is still taking us to court for applying power to the state. So as we say, it's par for the course. It doesn't matter. But those are the things, those are the impediments. And so it was critical to have the support of the state government in bringing this together. So I think it's fair to say this is one of the few places in this country now where we have consistent 24/7 power supply. It's no debate about it. And this has been brought together based on support from the governor, the government, my professional colleagues in London, and the constant work, my team, 24/7. We've been at this now since 2013.
How are you able to give us 24/7 power supply? Because for some years that has been a mirage, and it's still, not for some years, it's still, aside you, I'm not sure there's anywhere in this state where we have 24-hour power supply. Even for those of us who live in GRA, at least I'm a witness.
Sure.
How are you able to do that?
Well, basically we follow the practice that, we have in the UK. We started afresh. And so that's the point. This is not just a power plant. It's a fully integrated system. So, like I said, one of the big advantages we have in Benin City and Edo State to a large extent is because we have gas right here at Ologbo. We have one of the larger gas fields in the country, and the pipeline passes through our site. So essentially, our project comprises of three main components. We have the gas plant at Ologbo, which is a project on its own. Then we have the power plant, which is a project on its own. Then we have the 33 kV, 33 kilometers, 33 kV line from Ologbo to Benin, which everybody can see with all the towers.
Yes.
So it's that integrated nature that means that we are able to have a significant amount of control over what we do.
Okay.
Some of the other distribution companies, some power plant somewhere generates the power, maybe close to gas, may not be close to gas. Then power plant then sends it to the national grid. The national grid sends it. So they don't have any control over what they do whatsoever. In our own case, if we have a disruption, it's very easy for me to call my staff at the power plant. What's the problem? You know, whether it's at the gas plant, the power plant, the 33 kV line, what's the problem? Okay, and we are now, in the next phase, we will now have a situation where we actually will have automation on the line such that the human interference is minimized.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
what we are. That's what we are doing.
Wow.
So, and then of course, it's the investment in the infrastructure is critical. Some of our engineers who have worked with the distribution company, you know, were explaining to me that sometimes the losses are very, very high. And then, you know, of course, when you look at our system, from the switch yard in Ologbo to the injection substation at Palm House, our losses are less than 1%. And that's because, you know, the whole infrastructure is brand new. That implies a significant investment, a very huge investment. So the quality of the infrastructure is absolutely critical.
Some time ago, we did a research that showed that for you to get 1 megawatt of power, you should be spending almost $1 million
Yes.
for 1 megawatts of power.
Yeah.
So you have a 55 megawatts power, and that means you have invested over 55 million into this.
Well, actually, in London, generally, you know, when I say in London, I'm talking about the financial district, financing projects all over the world. We typically would say that a gas-fired power plant is between 1.25 and 1.5 million per megawatt.
Wow.
Hydro, it's more like $2 million per megawatt because the infrastructure is so much.
Yeah.
And then coal is way more than that. So, and in Nigeria generally, what we have seen with other projects have been done at about $2 million per megawatt. So you're absolutely correct, but you go beyond that. That's just for generation. Our project includes the gas plant, and the 33 kV line.
Wow. So how are you expecting
In a gas project, it's typically $1 million per kilometer for a pipeline.
Okay. So for you to give us power in Edo,
Yes.
$1 million per kilometer for gas project.
For the gas pipeline, yeah.
And the plant itself.
Then the
is
transmission
$1 million.
line, yes.
Then the transmission line is
Correct.
another matter altogether.
Yes, yes.
And bringing these three together, that means you have a huge investment.
Yes, we do.
Over 150 million.
Yes, we do. A huge
invested
investment.
in giving us
And the
55
investment
megawatts.
started in 2013. Didn't start yesterday.
And you
Continuously.
Can you imagine? Because I'm looking at, because if you are doing a business in an environment like this,
Yes,
you pulled resources since 2013.
yes,
And it's in 2019, 2020, you are beginning to see.
precisely.
That's not encouraging.
Well, I would say one thing, to be fair. In most parts of the world, infrastructure takes time. It's a significant investment. 7 years span for infrastructure investment. It's I would not say it's normal, but it's not abnormal anywhere in the world. Whether
No,
in Europe.
it's taking you a huge sacrifice
Yes,
to give us power.
Absolutely.
And you are a private
Well, I won't call it.
investor.
I won't call it a sacrifice. I mean, for me, I take it as my duty. I'm from Benin. My family is from Benin, and I grew up in Benin. This is where my roots are. I thank God that I had the opportunity. I was a managing director of Royal Bank of Canada, done projects all over the world. Over maybe a 15-year period, I had done projects of over $25 billion. So I learned how to get it done. And so this is my mission. That's the way I see it. It's not a sacrifice.
Sir, even if you don't want to agree that it's a sacrifice, I think it takes a sense of mission
Yes.
to get this done. Because by the time some other persons will look at the amount of investment they're going to put, I say, please, I beg. I don't just fit. Let me just put it somewhere and have peace of mind. But I want to thank you for today. We are enjoying this power here, and we can see the effect. We see the street lights in Ring Road being powered by that. That's a huge, because someone sat down one day and said, why would you power street lights with generator? Generators have lifespan of just 3 years, maximum 4. And that means you have to change the whole generator and start all over. And besides, how many places can you power with generator? You continue with diesel and the others. And so we have a change, we have a new structure, and we want to thank you. So the issue now is, are there plans for expansion? Is this 55 megawatts, will it be enough for Benin and every part of the states?
The power plant is already being expanded.
Okay.
The expansion is in progress. We commissioned the second power plant. But the design capacity of the first power plant is 55 megawatts.
Okay.
With the second power plant, which we will dedicate to the industrial park and the areas around it for certain technical reasons. But with the second power plant, our design capacity will be close to 100 megawatts.
Wow. And that will take care of these other areas. 55 megawatts of electricity, can you not power the state, the full state?
No, we cannot.
Okay.
Well, there are World Bank statistics. There are some particular World Bank statistics that will follow, which kind of focuses on power availability per capita. And what you find is that countries in sub-Saharan Africa, like Nigeria, will have perhaps less than 200 kilowatt hour per person.
Okay.
And then some countries in Africa, such as maybe North Africa, like Egypt, that have anywhere around 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and maybe some peculiar cases like Iceland, small population, a very high geothermal will be close to 10,000.
Yeah.
And Canada, certainly over 12,000. So it's very easy to calculate, because currently on the national grid we have about 3,500 megawatts. And then by the time and each distribution company has a percentage. So the local distribution company has, by 4.
Okay.
So essentially it's 90 megawatts for the whole of Edo State. That's the reality right now.
The reality. And
a lot of that is focused on certain industries. So when you put that in context, you see our capacity on that. So that's one. The second thing is that from our calculations, for Edo, need close to 900 megawatts. Yes. To get to the level of Egypt, not so a medium developing country.
So the question, I think we'll go on a break, just so that we slow things down a bit. Okay. So we're taking a short break, very shortly, immediately, and then when we come back, we'll be looking at how these power plants affects you and also the industries within Benin City and environs.
The 5th edition of the Alaghodaro Summit, organized by the Edo State government in collaboration with private partners to showcase opportunities and engender sustainable development in Edo State. The theme for this year's celebration is the Edo of our dreams, building a sustainable future. Activities include Friday, 12 November, Alaghodaro Summit at the new Festival Hall, Government House, Benin City. Sunday, 14th November 2021, Praise Night at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. No matter what, the future of Edo is secure.
The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. To service now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. Our people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be beautiful.
You're welcome. We are here with Dr. IGIEHON, MD OSSIOMO Power, and he has really been giving us some very deep insights into business in Nigeria. Now we are seeing the power plant, we're enjoying it right here. What is the impact to the people in the city? How can they benefit from this, especially for those who want to get connected to your grid?
Well, I think to answer that question, I would actually move from Ologbo to the bypass is about 15 kilometers, then another 15 kilometers to Ring Road, and there are a lot of other communities around there. At some point in time last year, the communities gathered together. The communities had been writing to us continuously. Long and short of it is that Ologbo hosts one of the largest, very large amount of oil and gas every day. And in Ologbo, there's been no light for 4 years.
My God.
So we're not talking about Benin. Maybe in GRA you get light 50% of the time. Maybe in Upper Sakumba 10% of the time. In Ologbo, there has been no power for 4 years. Full stop.
Okay.
Okay, so when we give power to the people of Ologbo, it changes everything. Social, economic, everything. And it's not only Ologbo. In all the villages, all the communities from Ologbo to bypass, they came together. And with the assistance of the state government, they had a meeting with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission.
NEC.
And they put their... somehow they will get power from us and it changed. So the point is that power, cuts across a lot of things. So see, for example, currently we supply power to the Secretariat, which comprises most of the ministries. We supply power to the court complex. We supply power to the central hospital, the old wing and the new wing. We supply power to Ogbe Stadium. We supply power to Observer. We supply power to the entire government house. We supply power to the GIS office. We supply power to the production center. We supply power to the hospital, Estela Obasanjo Hospital. So, and the House of Assembly. So we supply power to the 3 arms of government. We supply power to 2 of the 3 largest hospitals in Benin City. And we supply power to the production center. So what I'm saying there is that, it cuts across the entire socio-economic spectrum. And as we stand right now, there are many companies and industries, who are in the process of connecting to our power supply. So yes, there is no doubt about it. But when you look at it from the industrial perspective, The power is absolutely critical. Because you see, like, again, I have to say, sometimes in London, you have international companies that say they want to invest in the emerging markets. Typically, you say, okay, let us compare 3 markets.
Mm-hmm.
You may choose Egypt, maybe Qatar, or South Africa, or Nigeria. When you do the economic analysis, power is one of the things that make it unattractive to invest in Nigeria. So you can see the losses in foreign direct investment that we have all the time. I've been part of those processes, and in particular, there was a company, a very large Canadian company, and we did all the assessment, and in the end, they invested in Egypt. I led the financing. It was a 1.
So you don't even need to talk about a company somewhere. Let's talk about us. For example, someone that owns a barber shop,
yeah,
and wants to do business, and first he needs to buy a generator. He has to fill that generator. Ordinarily, if he was just going to walk into a shop, rent a place, and buy clippers and start a business, he would not need so much to start. As small as a barber shop is, you cannot open it until you own a generator and you have one that can power AC.
sure.
And that's the situation in Nigeria. Virtually everything we do requires power. Those who own fish pond, you need to have, in fact, we are thinking about solar-powered stuffs now.
Sure.
But if we have power, everything in the country will be okay. Now, the question
So
now,
let me add to that. I think there's one very important point to make. And this was always what I expected, and I'm pleased that we are seeing it. On the government side and on the private side, a significant amount of the locations we are powering are new.
Okay.
So some of the factories that are looking to connect to us, they didn't exist before. It's because there is power that they decided to now build. So we're not even, and this is the point talking about competition. I don't see it as competition. There are a number of companies which did not exist before. It's because they've seen the opportunity or the power we've given to them. So the other thing is that Secretariats Block C and D, they were not being powered by the local distribution company. Stadium that we switched on first was not being powered by the local distribution company. The capacity is not there. So what I'm saying is that, so one of our purpose is to actually stimulate. If we said that, all the facilities that existed before, let them power it, and we power the new ones, we are fine with that. It's not about, so I don't see it as competition.
No, the question I wanted to ask is, couldn't they have collaborated with you instead of seeing you as a competition? Because you are generating, you are you are both generation and transmission, and they are distributors. Because now people are asking, the question they are asking is, hey, Obaseki has given us power, OSSIOMO power, beautiful, please, we want it in our house. Can they know how?
Now question 4.
Yeah.
But you asked a question, let me address that question. At various times in the last 5 years, there have been attempts, and because we've always been open to work with anybody, and there have been attempts to make that work. But what we found is that there was always a means by which they were not really interested. Instead, what they insisted on was that they have a license which is exclusive, and therefore, whether anybody likes it or not, I mean, you look at Ologbo, what license do you have, what customers do you have? So the governor in particular at various times made strenuous efforts to bring all parties together. But it was always a constant thing where, and at the end of the day, like I said, we had a goal and we had to get on with it.
Exactly. So
that's it, basically. So strenuous efforts were made by many, many people to try to make it work. But what we found was a situation where the focus was the transmission and the growing distribution system. Let me describe the distribution system.
Okay.
The way this works now is that we have our 33 kV line. It's an 11 kV line, which is owned and operated by the government, that runs through Secretariat, Stadium, and everywhere.
Okay.
And that line is, when we switched on in November, that line was, I don't know, maybe only about 10 or 11 kilometers. Now it's more than double that. It's growing every day. The whole network is growing every day, which is precisely what we planned. And right now, we have the capacity to connect any customer that is willing. However, our current licenses limit us.
Okay.
It's about the license. And we will not do anything that is not within the ambit of the law. We will not do it. So right now, we are primarily powering government offices. And then, of course, and other parts of the state in due course, the government has actually started a process of putting in place an electricity bill. The lawyers have brought to everyone's attention that the constitution of the country actually gives the opportunity or the powers to both the federal government and the state government to legislate on power. And they have also said, this is the opinion that we are saying, that distribution in particular is the responsibility of the state government. So Edo State, and I believe some other state governments, are now in the process. So part of the, part of what we expect will come out of that process is that it will now become possible within the terms of the licensing regime for individuals to get power and for us not to be restricted to only government establishments.
But honestly speaking, I do not think that any law that does not benefit the people should be for the people. Fundamental human rights stipulates that I have the right to request anything I want. I should be able to reach and say, sell your product to me.
Yeah.
And if I'm able to do that, I say, I want to buy your product. Somebody should not tell me somewhere that you don't have a license to sell your product to me. So for me, I don't see why that should be an issue anyway. Maybe probably when people begin to become more enlightened about this issue, they'll be able to work out how to purchase power from you. But one thing you've been able to clear to us here is you are not unwilling to distribute power to the full state. It's just that you don't have the license to do so.
Well, let me put it differently, in a positive way. We have the capacity to distribute, because at the switchyard in the power plant, we have a 40 MVA transformer.
Okay.
That transformer has a capacity to transmit power to most of Benin alone. So this is the point we always go to when you say 55 megawatt. The gas facilities we have can provide gas for up to 500 megawatts.
Wow.
Has a capacity of 75 megawatts.
Wow.
Our 11 kV line in Ologo, maybe about 19.5, so close to 100 megawatts. So the capacity is there.
The capacity is there.
But at the same time, we always will operate, based on our background and our investment from London. We always operate within it. But again, in having said that, we talked about, we've been doing this for 7 years. I don't think it will take long before the government will deregularize the situation and we can supply power to everybody. And the street lights, like you mentioned before, it's an absolutely critical part of that. Because, with the street light comes, right now, maybe the economic activity in Benin is somewhere between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., 12 hours. But with the street lights, it's going to extend that.
Yes.
And then, of course, security and everything that comes with it. So all these steps are being made right now, and there's a tremendous amount of work that is going on. But be rest assured that, like you said, somehow or the other, I think the power will be available to everybody very soon.
Okay, what about the street lights? Now that we are looking at, since there's something stopping us from getting that other one, the one that we can get, when will the street lights be distributed in all parts of Benin?
It's already ongoing. Basically, Benin is great because the geography of the city is fantastic. Because we have the ring road and the 3 circulars or 4, first circular, second circular, third, and then the bypass. So what that means is that for us, we always design it in such a way that once we got power to ring road along the Supply Road, and then with that ring at the ring road, then it means that we can easily power up street lights on all the major roads, and that's exactly what's going on right now. The lights have been switched on the ring road, and I think progressively all the lights, the various major streets are being lit up. But when those streets are being lit up, it's also the extension of the distribution infrastructure along those major roads. That's what's ongoing.
How affordable is it to hook up on your power supply?
Extremely affordable, because you look at the alternative, and again our tariff is very simple. Our tariff is slightly different from what else goes on. Our tariff is in 3 components.
Okay.
1, the gas supply. So exactly how much we pay our gas suppliers is what our customers pay. Then the generation, of course, a return on all the investment that's been made. And then the transmission and distribution component. But what we see is a situation where, compared to anything else, tariff is, because one of the reasons that we do that is because of my experience. Power is not an end in itself. Power is really in the middle. If you are producing, plastic chairs in Nigeria, producing plastic chairs in Egypt or China, we produce it at a lower cost and import it.
And that's why we have
so
a
precisely.
huge amount
So that's
of
why
imports.
for us, power is a means to an end. Okay, so therefore, we will always modulate our tariff. Because again, I will also draw your attention to the fact that everybody talks about, power from OSSIOMO. But really, at the OSSIOMO Industrial Park, it's an industrial park. We are developing major industries. We started out with our industrial development when we realized that there was no power available. And we said, okay, we need to develop power infrastructure. And of course, part of it will now be supplied. So we look at our own context. The power is not the end. So what I'm saying is that our power would always be competitively priced, always be. And right now it is. And we watch it all the time. And the people who have connected to our power can testify to that. And many people in Benin, they can testify to that.
I know I would want to stretch this question a little bit by asking to get an idea of how much. Let me give you an example. In my house, that's one thing I said I was going to say during the interview, because I've complained about it. I've called the distribution company, and there wasn't really any answer. In my house, I pay 1,000 naira per day on electricity bill. I'm not talking about fuel. 1,000 naira a day, and I'm not having 24 hours power supply. My power is taking, I'm getting 18 hours. Okay, so I have 3 hours darkness during the day, and one AC, I can't switch on any other thing. And I pay 1,000 naira per day. Once I buy a unit for 10,000 naira, 10 days later I'm buying another 10,000. And that's the situation for everyone that's living around us right there in GRA. So I'm asking, because when you're saying, can we, if I'm paying 1,000 for 24 hours,
Yes.
and I don't have to augment with fuel along the way, I think I'm okay.
Of course.
So what about the situation? Can we get to know what yours is like?
Yeah, no, our tariff, like I said, our tariff for people who have connected to us can see that the tariff is relatively low, quite frankly. And in addition to that, because it's essentially 24/7, that removes a lot. So the fact is that I don't want to go into specifics as far as what the tariff is, but is it affordable? I can assure you. We have a long list of factories in particular who want to connect to us. Literally, some of them, all the work is done. They're just waiting for the regulatory approval. That's all. Use prepaid meters. Okay. Our metering is not 70% or 80%. No, it's 100%. No customer is connected without a meter. Okay, and it's all prepaid meters, so it's very clear, it's very transparent. Okay, so that's what we do. So I think that what you have seen is a situation where the feedback that we are getting, of course, that fully justifies that. And even then, there is some work we are doing with the state government now to stabilize the prices, because something that is not often talked about in Nigeria, because to be fair, the tariff that the distribution companies charge is based on their negotiations with the regulator. And for us, when we look at the three components of our tariff, the one part of it that we have no control over is the gas. Okay. Natural gas markets are international. And from the beginning, coming in from London, I saw a situation where I just feel that the gas market in Nigeria are a real big problem. A really big problem. And a big part of the problem of power in this country is the gas. Because a majority of the power that is generated in this country and transmitted and distributed comes from gas. Solar, hydro, they are still relatively minor. So, but at the same time, the gas markets are such that, do you know that at some point in time, we were saying that it will actually be cheaper for me to go to the US, liquefy gas and bring it.
Yes, to produce it in Nigeria.
Not just produce it, than to get gas from the flow station in Alaghodaro that is 2 kilometers from me.
Then the question is, this gas is being flagged.
Yeah, well, precisely.
So why is it so expensive to get it?
In our tariff, the gas component is about 40% of the tariff. We have no control over it. And it's priced in dollars. So every time the exchange, rate goes up, this is something that from day one, the government and ourselves were cognizant, and we've been very transparent with the community. The gas is a major problem. Very major problem.
Sir, to think that we are the ones producing this gas, and when they are not buying it, we just put fire on it and use it to pollute the atmosphere. Now, I want to buy it, put it to good use, because listen, all of this is getting to me. Sorry, I'm not supposed to be passionate, but it's my country, okay? You produce crude, you use the gas to spoil the whole atmosphere by lighting it up. So much that these days, if you park a car outside, a white car, and rain falls, your car turns black, because nobody's talking about that. And this is because of the level of soot in the atmosphere. Now, you want to convert that flared gas into power, which we do not have. And then you have to pay in dollars. Huge sums.
Correct.
And we have a country that runs on Naira. But to sell our gas to a fellow Nigerian, it has to be in dollars. At an exchange rate that is not stable, that is going up and down every day. We'll come back after this break.
The 5th edition of the Alaghodaro Summit, organized by the Edo State Government in collaboration with private partners to showcase opportunities and engender sustainable development in Edo State. The theme for this year's celebration is the Edo of our dreams, building a sustainable future. Activities include Friday, 12 November, Alaghodaro Summit at the new Festival Hall, Government House, Benin City. Saturday, 13th November, Grand Commissioning of the Professor Victor Waifo Creative Hub, Art Exhibition / Edo Youth Mega Concert. Sunday, 14th November 2021, Praise Night at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. No matter what, the future of Edo is secure.
The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. Our people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Unite and stand with each other, forgive and let it go. Together we can stand, come what may, and the future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To fear and love the Creator, only then shall we succeed. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. Our people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing.
The 5th edition of the Alaghodaro Summit, organized by the Edo State Government in collaboration with private partners to showcase opportunities and engender sustainable development in Edo State. The theme for this year's celebration is the Edo of our dreams, building a sustainable future. Activities include Friday, 12 November, Alaghodaro Summit at the new Festival Hall, Government House, Benin City. Saturday, 13th November, Grand Commissioning of the Professor Victor Waifo Creative Park, Art Exhibition / Edo Youth Mega.
Dr. IGIEHON, and he has really been giving us insight into the power system here. Now we see why we see Edo State blazing the trail in trying to remedy this situation. I remember that when the law was amended last year, that made it made it possible for you to even operate in Edo State, it was something that I applauded, but many people may not have known that this was a huge feat because of the exclusive power given to the local distribution company. But now we are happy, we are glad that we are having this. Now, what comparative advantage does OSSIOMO have? Although you said a few about it, the fact that you have the generation, the transmission, and also the distribution in one place. And what other advantage do you think you have over the distribution, and how can maybe we see power getting to become affordable, much more affordable in the future, and for more people to be able to connect into the grid?
Okay, so for more people to be able to connect to our network, that's just a simple fact of the regulation, which the state government is already working on, and we expect to see some results in a short while. In terms of the tariff itself put in place with the state government, if tomorrow we see a 50% reduction in our gas tariff, we'll reduce our electricity tariff exactly the same. So yes, there's some effort that is actually going on towards that right now. So that is the key to affordability of power in Nigeria. There are international benchmarks for gas prices in the US, in Europe, in various parts of the world. And, up until recently, the gas prices in different parts of the world were significantly lower than Nigeria. Significantly. And like you said, there is absolutely no reason, particularly onshore. You look at our own particular situation, we get our gas from just next door. And the price is from an international perspective, is not competitive. We have to translate that straight into the tariff. It's a fundamental problem that is actually creating a problem for industrialization in this country. But, like we say, these things, you have to do it one step at a time. We are now in a position, to talk about that, and I can assure you that the government has recognized that fact and is working assiduously with us to address that issue.
Okay, that's good to hear, and we hope that will really be resolved as soon as possible, so that we can have better power supply. But sure. I'm looking at this situation because rather than produce fuel in Nigeria, petrol, we import.
Yeah.
Now, you are telling me it's actually cheaper to import gas because the prices outside the country is cheaper than we have in Nigeria. And that is a terrible, I still can't get over that fact. It's just a state. And in our thought, has the state fared so far, considering its rich and human endowments? I'm sure it's part of the reasons why you decided to come to see what we can do to help those states. Are there things that could be done better?
Well, I think that, if you go beyond that, maybe 40, 50 years ago, Edo State was blazing the trail. There's no question about it. Really punching beyond its capacity. And again, like most parts of the country over time, various things have happened. But certainly within the last 5, 6 years, the financial capacity that the state has, there's no debate about it. It's a great destination for investment. A lot of people who work with us, who follow us, not only in Nigeria but all over the world, are coming in because they see the advantages of investing in Edo State. So, without a shadow of doubt, I think that of it, which is the huge amount of Edo State people, all over the world. I won't call it diaspora. It's not diaspora. I think to the extent that someone is a professional, does his education in Nigeria, goes abroad, work for 10, 15 years, gain professional experience, gain some, financial capacity, and come back. That's fantastic because you're able to now inject that into the state. So we see a mix of all of that, and I think that I see a lot of development coming on right now. We have a situation right now, I think, You probably mentioned that there are people who want to invest, you know, in the whole power chain and power infrastructure. We have one of our local partners that has partners from Texas. They were actually here last week, and it's been amazing. They're essentially missionaries. I see that, and I'm very, very glad that that situation has been created by the current government.
As a player already in the power sector, what would you advise? What do you think? Because Nigerians, we know that we have a government, and they are thinking, the federal government, but Nigerians themselves also need to know, like they need to know what the challenges are, so that probably through lawmakers and everything, we can put pressure and see if some of these things can be adjusted so that the country will begin to fare better power-wise.
Sure.
So what do you think that we could, that changes that you think that can be made in terms of regulation and structure? In
regulatory environment, it's a real challenge. And we're not just talking about the power sector. I have to come back to it again, the gas sector as well. So anybody that has the willingness and interest should make representations. It's absolutely critical. The state government has been doing that, and we continue to mention it whenever we can. In London, we know it 100%. It's one of the biggest challenges that we have. You know, when I say it took us so many years, and I also said, well, it can take so many years in places like the US or Canada, but they can wait. We don't have the time, we don't have the luxury. So really, it should not take that long. So that's the critical thing I have to say. I think that's where the representation needs to be made.
And I also think that in the aspects of regulation, if there's something can be done about the gas part, because I'm looking at the normal structure we have now in Nigeria.
Sure.
If I'm a distribution company, I have to pay the transmission and pay the generation.
Yes.
But you have an integrated system,
Sure.
so you only pay the gas company.
Well, no, but we still have to pay costs for
Yes, of course. You
generation,
pay,
transmission.
yes.
But the big difference is that we see across the chain.
The chain.
If you're just a distribution company, you are just getting whatever you are given. But literally, as I've said before, since we started operations, you have to do it progressively. We commissioned our gas plant January 2020, and we had first power, commissioned the power plant, well, not commissioned, started testing the power plant February, March 2020. Then we had to then concentrate on the transmission and distribution system with all the distractions. So that's why we didn't actually switch on at the stadium till November. So you can see the time that was taking to do all of this. But the point is that at any point in time, if we have any issue on our system, I can immediately call my engineers. Where is the problem? Since we started January 2020, the gas plant, we've never had one day outage.
Unlike in the situation we had where there wasn't power, we got the distribution company, said it's not from our end,
Exactly.
it's transmission, and we were in darkness for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then by the time there was the result, we had power, and then the whole, what's it called now? What do they call it? Power sharing.
Okay, yeah.
Continued. But good to hear. Well, final words to our viewers, because while we have really painted a very gloomy, not nice picture of the situation, which is the reality of our day, what do they hope as a word of encouragement in terms of power in Nigeria?
Well, I think, let me, because there was something that was mentioned, and I think some of the viewers state.
Okay.
But there are certain technical approaches that we have to take for other parts of the state. But it's just for everybody to be rest assured that the government is very, very keen to extend, this concept to other parts of the state, and we are working on it. Then in terms of that, quite frankly, I don't see the cup as half empty, it's half full. I'm very positive about it, because we never believed it was particularly difficult. So we are not, and particularly now that we have done it, And like you said, we're enjoying the power here. There are many people, a growing number of people who are enjoying it. So we see a very positive aspect to it. Even some of these issues we've talked about, whether the regulatory issue, the distribution company, the gas and all of that, now we can bring them into focus. 3 years ago, we were not even talking about this. We were talking about how to get things done. So we've now moved to a point where those things can now be put on the table with gas, because at that point in time, it was just something that we're going to need during operation. So that's a big step forward, that we are now at a point where we say, first phase is done, it's fantastic. How do we make it more consistent? How do we get more people supplied? And how do we make the tariff more affordable? So those are really positive aspects. So we see a very positive environment for all of that.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Dr. IGIEHON, Managing Director, OSSIOMO Power. And we want to really thank you for changing the narrative and collaborating with the state government. I really want to particularly commend the huge amount of investment that's been made in this regard, having a deep, clear insight as to what it costs to generate even 1 megawatts of power. Thank you so much. So our viewers, I want to say a huge thank you to you. Thank you for your participation. We got your questions. We'd like you to keep sharing this and comment, because it's actually going to be posted and placed on the platform. And tomorrow again, we're going to be bringing another guest. In fact, not just one guest, but many more guests. And I'm sure you'll be very pleased to see them and learn from what they have to offer. Do have a beautiful day.
The 5th edition of the Alaghodaro Summit, organized by the Edo State Government in collaboration with private partners to showcase opportunities and engender sustainable development in Edo State. The theme for this year's celebration is the Edo of our dreams,